All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a quick few minutes. So now here's what we're doing. I'm waiting for the Facebook and the Periscope to populate, and boy, they're populating rapidly. And I'm going to get into the crux of what we're going to be doing in a few minutes. But for those of you who are on now, I'm going to explain to you what we do here on Monday nights. First of all, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve Rogers. I am on the President's Advisory Board, his Advisory Campaign Board, and we do a lot of work in getting the President's message out, not only on Fox News and CNN and to the best of our ability on mainstream media, but here through social media. This is the first night, ladies and gentlemen, that we're on Periscope. We are always on Facebook Live. We have been doing this on YouTube Live, but we decided tonight to go on Periscope Live because our numbers on Periscope, on Twitter, have now surpassed 140,000 followers. So you're in for a treat tonight. We're going to limit these broadcasts to 30 minutes. And in this 30 minutes, we're going to fill you with a lot of information. But I also want you to know that you could get this information in detail by sending me an email, steve@teamtrumpnj.us. That's steve@teamtrumpnj.us. And I'll say that at the end of the broadcast, too. You will receive every single week our Make America Great Again briefing papers that we actually retrieve from the White House Communication Office. You'll get a link right to the White House press room, and you'll be able to get facts. Facts that mainstream media is not sharing with you. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to give you facts. In addition to that, I'll share with you some of the comments and thoughts I had with regard to the shooting in Texas. I was on Fox for the past 72 hours. I finally got home, and I'm finally able to share with you some of the thoughts that have been kind of tossed around regarding the shooter and regarding what has happened in the state of Texas, which is going to lead us to a rather dynamic discussion about the Second Amendment. It seems to me that the mainstream media, the Democrats, liberals, not all, there are a lot of conservative Democrats, independents, who are interested in facts, but the others, the progressives and those out there trying to take the Second Amendment and trash it and simply eliminate it from the Constitution, we cannot allow that to happen. The Constitution of the United States was created by our founding fathers. It is a constitutional amendment. That Second Amendment, it is non-negotiable. Okay, it is 7:27. So why don't we get started a little bit because we've got a lot to pack in, and I think it's critically important that you get the facts. We do this, folks. Believe it or not, on Mondays we do have a staff meeting with the president's campaign team, and we discuss some of the issues that we need to get out to you. And these issues are including all of the president's international accomplishments, his national accomplishments, because the mainstream media is not getting that to you. So we're going to get it to you through our social media platforms. And we're also asking you to do this, to have the ability to send what we send you via email to all your friends across the social media networks. When you email us, and I'm going to give you the email in a minute, go grab a pen. I just see somebody came up and they said, look, I got a pen and paper. I'd love to receive your briefing papers. When you send us your email, you're going to be getting those briefing papers from Team Trump every single week. And we're also setting up a Make America Great Again tour throughout the state of New Jersey. And we'll tell you about that as you begin receiving the information that we're sending you on our newsletter. And in addition to that, here's something exciting. You will be invited to events we have around the state of New Jersey and some of them around the country as we begin to grow. We did have our first meeting at the President's Colts Neck Country Club several months ago. Great crowd. And here's what's really good, folks. We never ask you for money. We don't ask you for contributions. We don't ask you for donations. We will not ask you for any of that. What we're asking you is to help support the President of the United States by helping us get you the information that you need to get out. Okay, Steve, here's the email. Steve@teamtrumpnj.us. Steve at TeamTrumpNJ.us. And I'll say it at the end of the broadcast, too. All right, let's talk a number of issues we're going to talk about beginning now. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Asian trip that the president is now embarking on. We're going to talk about some of the law and order issues that he has already accomplished. Economic growth, the tax plan, very important. There's so much bad information out there and false information. We're going to talk about that. Immigration, going to let you know what he's been doing about that, as well as the methods that the Obama administration and the Democrats are using to get illegals in. Obviously, we're going to talk about Texas, and then we're going to talk about New Jersey Team Trump one more time. Now, obviously, within a half hour, I'm going to give you a summary, more or less some bullet points as to what the president is doing. But you will get all this in details. Believe me, we send you a comprehensive analysis of what the president is doing. All right, let's talk about Asia. The main goal of President Trump being in Asia that you're not hearing about on mainstream media is he wants to make absolutely sure that North Korea does not become a nuclear state. Now, I was channel surfing tonight. We have the president had a very significant and great meeting with the political leaders of Japan. It was terrific. The president, last night, he called Japan out right in front of them, all right, and said, look, we like your cars, but we want those cars made in the United States. We have to do a better, we have to think smarter. We have to do things better. He actually did that on their soil, in their country, and no one took offense to it. The Japanese Prime Minister and others said, you know what, as trading partners, we can work fairly. Now, what president did that in the past? But he did it right in front of them, and he said, you know what, I've got my country, the United States of America, I've got to get them jobs, I've got to get people back to work, and let's think about fair trading. That's what he did in Japan. He's on his way to South Korea, folks. Now, in South Korea, I'm sure he's going to reiterate that they are a great ally, that we will defend them, and if anything happens with regard to North Korea, the United States will be there. He's going to go to China. I'm sure he's going to make it very clear to the Chinese that, in his view, as President of the United States, the American people come first. The President does not want to have a war. There are people out there who are calling him warmonger. They say they fear what he's going to do. They fear what he's going to say. He's been magnificent so far in his leadership, in his diplomacy. So all of this nonsense that's being perpetrated by the left, please ignore it. Ignore it. We're going to send you details as to how he is diplomatically addressing a lot of these issues. But he's made it very clear to North Korea that the United States is not going to be bullied by anybody. The United States of America has a new sheriff in town. His name is Donald J. Trump. And the apology tour came to an end a long time ago, like on Election Day a long time ago. No more apologies from the United States of America. We're going to stand strong. We're going to stand tough. And that is exactly the image that the President of the United States is giving to the entire world. And he has a lot of people, a lot of allies on board. You get more respect from the leaders around the world and from people in different countries than you do from some of the elected officials here in the United States. Now, amazingly, the president is in Japan. He's doing some great work there. And mainstream media is doing what? They have poll numbers. They're talking about how the president's poll numbers are diving, how his polls numbers are the lowest of any president. I don't know who they're talking to. I really don't. I have no idea who they're talking to. They're certainly not talking to, I think, the mainstream, Main Street Americans, because wherever I go, people are saying, hey, thank God we have a president who's standing up for the American people. Well, we know about poll numbers, don't we? The entire election cycle against Hillary Clinton, she was going to win by a landslide. She got crushed by a landslide. And that landslide was Donald J. Trump and the American people. So that's what he's doing in Asia. Now, when we look at, let's look at law and order. The president has made it very clear that one of his priorities is to go after gangs in the United States, and organized crime task forces are getting the money, the manpower, the tools, and the equipment they need to go after a gang, and particularly MS-13. Nassau County, New York, they're rounding them up like cattle, and they're arresting these characters, and those who don't belong here, that are here illegally, they're going to be prosecuted, jailed, and perhaps deported. That's the way this president is handling the crime rate. With regard to economic growth and jobs, listen to this, folks. This is something that the mainstream media is not speaking about, but we're going to speak about right now. This is what you need to know about how the economy has reacted to the election and leadership of President Trump. Nearly 1.5 million jobs have been added to the economy since the president took office. 24,000 manufacturing jobs were added last month in October. Consumer confidence hit the highest level since December of 2000. And you know who reported that? Of all TV networks? CNBC. Get a load of that. The U.S. service sector hit a record number in October. The orders for large semi-trucks have doubled compared to 2016. The U.S. worker productivity improved in the third quarter at its best rate in 3 years. Broadcom, remember the CEO from Broadcom? They're coming to the United States from Singapore. They're relocating here, and they're bringing $20 billion worth of annual revenue, $3 billion in research and engineering, and $6 billion a year in manufacturing. You know who reported that? The Financial Times. The U.S. coal production is up 7.8%, and home prices reached new all-time highs in August. More than 80% of the people feel the American dream is now within reach. And do you know who reported that? Pew Research. I want to ask you at MSNBC and CNN, which, by the way, I'll be on CNN during the week. I'm doing a lot of broadcasts on that, a lot with Fox, a lot with CNN. We're not going to turn away from CNN. We're going to go on and we're going to put it to them just like they put it to us. But I want to know why, instead of talking about polls that are inaccurate, that are pretty much manufactured in my view, why is the mainstream media talking about that and not talking about the 80% of Americans who feel that the American dream is within reach? And that's not Donald J. Trump or our campaign putting that information out. That's a reputable Pew Research putting that out. So that is exactly what's going on with the economy. Now, what about this, folks? What about immigration? This lottery, a lot of people don't understand what the diversity lottery is. Well, the lottery awards 50,000 green cards to foreign nationals with absolutely no ties to the United States. They have no special skills, no jobs. It just comes through a generated random drawing. Imagine that. Your name comes up on a computer if you live in a foreign country. You get a green card. You get to come to the United States of America because your name popped up on a computer. Now tell me, if ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and these terrorist organizations who have a very, very strong ability in the tech field, don't you think they could do something with those computers? Don't you think that the names of their warfighters will be put in those computers? Well, the President of the United States is dealing with that. Now, here's the killer. Remember crying Chuck Schumer? Good old crying Chuck Schumer. All upset over the President doing away with the diversity visa program. Do you know why Chuck is upset over that? Because the program was created by Ted Kennedy in 1990 and co-sponsored by who? Senator Chuck Schumer. And it was designed to encourage legal immigration from countries that were underrepresented in the current immigration flows. Now think about this. They created this bill to bring in or to give an advantage to people from particular countries legally. But it looks like it now turned into an instrument, a tool, an avenue for illegal immigrants to come in. So old Chuck over there is in New York is crying the blues that the president's going to do away with his program. How about Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi and some of those who have been backing sanctuary cities, who have been looking to protect illegal immigrants? How about thinking about the American people? How about doing what the president is doing and get on his side, stand shoulder to shoulder with him, and get this diversity visa program out of our lives once and for all? Well, that's what the President of the United States is going to do. In May of 2006, Schumer made a speech on the congressional floor. He defended the diversity visa program, saying it was excellent. And so I plead with my colleagues, keep the diversity visa program. Now, he said that in 2006, and here we are in 2017, and Chuck Schumer is singing the same tune. Keep the program. We want to keep it. A flow, ladies and gentlemen, a flow of illegal immigrants are coming into this country. They're coming in by the thousands. I really believe that. Well, I don't have to say I really believe it. The evidence is there. But remember this, and I said this on Fox News 6-7 months ago. ISIS told us many, many months ago that their war fighters are coming to America. The President of the United States of America has decapitated ISIS in the Middle East. Our president, his policy of giving the military commanders on the ground the ability to fight, that ability was taken away from Barack Obama. It was taken away from them by Hillary Clinton. It was taken away from them by Joe Biden. The ability of our military commanders was taken away from them. That is why we were unable to defeat ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And remember, we had them defeated. Look, my son, a Marine, fought in Fallujah. I'm sure many of you watching had many relatives fighting in the Middle East. I spent 25 years of my life in the United States Navy, Office of Naval Intelligence. When you tie the hands of military commanders, that is an ingredient to lose a battle. President Donald Trump took the handcuffs off of the military. The bombers came, the troops came, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force did what they had to do to bomb the hell out of ISIS. They took care and destroyed their command and control centers in Raqqa. They destroyed the supply lines. They destroyed their fuel lines. ISIS is dead, and they're dying all across the Middle East. Now, as a result, ISIS knows that they can never, ever beat us on the field of battle that is made of sand. Now what they're going to try to do is bring the war fighters here. They're doing that by two ways. Number one, they're going to train the war fighters in the Mideast and get them here from the Middle East and other countries that are known terrorist bases. That's another thing. The president is fighting in order to develop a travel ban, not against a religious group, but a group called terrorists, for goodness sakes. And if there are countries that are harboring terrorists, if there are countries training terrorists, why on earth would Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and others want anybody from those countries to come here? Without extreme vetting, without a vetting process that is much stronger and tougher. The fact of the matter is, they simply care about their political futures, their political base, and not the American people. So here's what the president's doing with regard to that. Number one, he's increasing information and intelligence gathering here in the United States, providing our police officers and police forces all across the country with the tactical and strategic equipment they need in order to go up against any terrorist attack. They have done excellently. We're going to see more surveillance, and we've got to get rid of politically correct policing, folks. Look, if there are people in a certain group, this is not called racial profiling. It's called criminal profiling. When I was a police officer, if there were a certain group of people, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what color, no matter what religion, if they belong and they fit in a certain group of people that have been committing criminal acts, we go after them. We profile them. You see, I am not afraid to use the word profile as a lot of politicians are. They're too sensitive to offending those people who are offending us. Well, I've got news for you. I don't want to be offended anymore. President Donald Trump don't want to be offended anymore. And I know that a good majority of the American people are sick and tired of being offended by the left and by politicians who are more concerned about their political survival than the survival of the United States. And I'm not just talking to the Democrats and the liberals and the progressives. I'm also talking to the Republicans, the GOP candidates who are going to be running in the midterm elections. I'm telling you, stand side by side with the President of the United States, or you're going to be standing out the door come November of 2018. We can no longer compromise on our conservative beliefs. We can no longer compromise on the principles in which this country was founded upon. We can no longer compromise the safety of the American people. These are what we call rhinos, Republicans in name only. They want to get elected, they appeal to the base during the election cycle, and then they just simply walk away. They did that with Donald Trump, folks. See, look what's happening. Look at what is happening across the country now. You've got Republicans who got elected on his coattails. They stood with him until they got elected, and as soon as the going got tough, they got going. They walked out on the president. Well, now they're beginning to realize they may have made a very grave political mistake, because many of them are now jumping on the bandwagon, especially in relation to the tax reform. So we've got all this going on with immigration, and I can tell you the president is doing a great job, and he's going to do a stronger job with regard to dealing with illegal immigrants, which leads me to this. Look, we had a horrific attack in New York City a few days ago. We had a horrific attack in Texas. Let's talk about the terrorist attack. Let's talk about what happened in New York City. You got this guy who decides that he wants to run people down. All right, he takes a car. We call that a target of opportunity. It was planned. I mean, no question about it. But he goes and he runs people down and kills them. Now, here's the fight. The fight is this. This person, this killer, this terrorist, should never, ever be tried in a civilian court. He is an enemy combatant, and he should be tried in a military court. Folks, that is the problem with a lot of politicians today. They want to be nicey nice. They want to play by rules that are sure that we, the American people, lose. Now, look, the courts in this country are, in my view, in many, many ways failing the American people. It's the greatest, believe me, the greatest judicial system in the world. But when you get liberals, like in the Ninth Circuit Court, when you get judges who make decisions, like they did with Bo Bergdahl, could you imagine this traitor? This Bo Bergdahl walked, folks. He went into court and he walked out of the courtroom a free man. The guy deserts. People, young kids, Marines, sailors, soldiers, killed trying to find this traitor. They get buried and he gets to walk. There is something very, very wrong with a criminal justice system that does that. Bo Bergdahl, he should have been found guilty and executed as a traitor. But here's what they do. They decide that, well, you know, he suffered enough. He suffered enough. The children, the moms, the dads, the family members of our troops that died trying to find him are going to suffer a lifetime. This is why we have a president who is standing up for the American people. This is why we have a president who's going to do and continues to do everything he possibly can to reverse the trend of politically correct politics in this country. It is so important, ladies and gentlemen, that you and I engage and get involved and do what we can to help the President of the United States. So, you see Bo Bergdahl, we see the killer in New York City, who should be tried as an enemy combatant. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to go down that road. We see the fervency, the excitement that they have with regard to investigating the president with regard to Russia. All this time, not one shred of evidence of collusion, all this time. And yet, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, my goodness, Donna Brazile came up and she actually is spilling all the beans. Where's the GOP? Where are our senators? Where are the congressmen? Where are the congresswomen? Where are the GOP leaders in this country not raising hell to stand up and to seek justice where justice is due? Why is it always expedient to go after the President of the United States and not expedient to go after those who have truly, in my view, committed crimes? That's why we have to speak up and stand up. and do everything we can to reverse this trend, if not for our sakes, for the sake of our children and our grandchildren. Now we go to Texas. Here is the flashpoint. I have purposely, and many of my colleagues have purposely and intentionally not gone down the road of the Second Amendment with regard to the shooting in Texas. And we've done that out of respect for the victims of that atrocious, terrible, terrible act. Well, we decided not to go down that road. I have not to this day gone down that road on Fox or CNN, but I've got to tell you, it didn't take the left long to go down that road. Last night, and I'll do it here. I'll certainly do it on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll do it on social media platforms. But when I'm on those national TV programs, I'm very, very sensitive to the victims of those crimes. And I just think it's inappropriate to get on a national television program and to be talking about that. But they initiated it. They decided to go after the Second Amendment. You get some actress or some former talk show host blaming the Republicans. You get other people blaming the president, blaming the NRA. They're blaming everybody but the one responsible for these killings, and that's the killer. So I get on the air last night on Facebook on my way back from Fox, and I'm talking about the fact that the only way, or let's put it this way, one way that we can stop killers from killing more people is to ensure that law-abiding Americans will be given the ability to bear arms, that you will be able to carry a concealed weapon, and you will be able to use it in defense of your life and the life of others. That is called the Second Amendment. That is called the Second Amendment of the United States. I said many years ago, before I retired as a police officer, that there will come a day when the police, as good as we are, and we are good, in fact, we're great in this country when it comes to cops, we are not going to be able to defend all of the people all of the time. Give the people the right to bear arms and let them defend themselves, their family members, and anyone under threat of an assault from anyone else. Well, I've got to tell you, overnight, hundreds of tweets on Twitter, hundreds of messages with blood-soaked hands. Steve Rogers, you're bloodthirsty this and bloodthirsty that. The blood of these people are on your hands. Look, folks, I'm sharing this with you for one reason. I'm sharing this with you because, A, it emboldens me, because I'm never ever gonna turn my back on these people, all right, whoever they are. These people have never been involved in shootings. I was. These people have probably never been victims to a crime. I've worked with victims of crimes my whole life. Victims who were beaten and mugged and at sometimes and even shot, folks. And if they had a weapon in their hands to protect themselves, they would not have been the victim. And so this is what the left and this is what the liberals and the progressives don't understand. But I learned something last night. I learned something. That a lot of these people, they have no clue. They have no idea the road they're taking this country down. Now, I want to appeal to the conservative Democrats and those who at least have something up here with regard to common sense. Your party, your Democrat Party, has been hijacked by socialists and communists and progressives that are going to try to run this country right down into the ground. Now, you're smarter than that. Believe me, we in the GOP, we're better than that, but I'm not saying we're great. The GOP needs to change its tune. We need a new song in the GOP, and that song is going to be written by and led by President Donald Trump, because we need to get back to our conservative values, and we need to get back to the values that were given to us in the Constitution of the United States, and the Second Amendment was one of those values. So, here's what we're going to do. It is 7:53, so I got about 7 minutes left. I promised that I would not go on and on and on past 30 minutes. But here's what we're going to do. I fed you a lot in summary form. Folks, you can get all of this comprehensive information. Once a week, we send out New Jersey Team Trump Make America Great Again briefings and newsletters. The information you get is right from our team. We're in touch with the White House Communication Office. We get loads of great information that you're not getting on mainstream media. It is critically important that you get the facts. Look, all of us are on the internet. All the garbage and conspiracy theories and this and that, a lot of it's coming from the left to distract us. We'll guarantee you that the information you get from us is exactly the information that the President of the United States wants you to have. We'll also give you a link to our website and a link to the White House press office. And like I said, beware frauds out there. Beware of frauds. New Jersey Team Trump will never ever ask you for a dime. No money. No money, no donations, no contributions. We're not going to do that. We do have events around the state, and what we do is we let people know, here's where the event's going to be. This is how much the food's going to cost. Want to buy food? Go ahead. If you don't, that's fine with us. So you'll never have to worry about us asking for 1 penny from you. This is more about our country. This is more about standing up for the President of the United States. We have midterm elections in 2018. We've got the presidential election in 2020. And I've said before, I'll say it again, Donald J. Trump is not a 4-year president. He is an 8-year president. He's going to become known as one of the greatest presidents that this country has ever had. I truly believe that, or I wouldn't be here tonight. I would have not been with him soon after he announced his presidency. I would not have been the first elected official in the state of New Jersey who endorsed Donald J. Trump. So the fact of the matter is, we need people who are loyal. Loyalty in politics, very hard to find. Very hard to find. A lot of politicians have turned their back on the president, and they're going to pay the price. If they don't shape up, come midterms, they're going to be shipping out. So, Steve at teamtrumpnj.us. Steve at teamtrumpnj.us. Email me, put MAGA in your narrative. When you email me, we'll know what that is, and you will be put into our data bank, and we are going to send you an incredible amount of information every week. We're going to be on every week, usually on Monday nights, unless I'm on Fox or another station. But more importantly, we're going to want you to come to a lot of the events that we're going to be having after the new year. A lot of fun, folks. You're with Trump supporters from all over the place. And it's going to be a great experience. Now, for those of you who live out of state, I have gotten a lot of messages and emails from people who live in, I just saw a man from Virginia, Montana, California, Texas, right here, all over the United States. You can email us, and we're going to send you the information we're sending every single person in the state of New Jersey, because we're giving birth. We're giving birth to Team Trumps all over the country. New Jersey's going to be the model right now. We're going to have Team Trump in New York and Virginia, et cetera, et cetera. So please stay in touch with us. Steve at teamtrumpnj.us. One more thing before I go. Tomorrow is Election Day in Virginia and Election Day in New Jersey. You take a look at those Democrats. Those Democrats will turn your states into sanctuary states. There'll be a rapid increase of illegal immigrants. Your taxes are going to go up. Frankly, you could expect Virginia and New Jersey to become the East Coast Californias if the Democrats get elected. I encourage you to go vote. Vote Republican. Make sure that every single person and that Republican ticket in Virginia and in New Jersey get your vote. And the reason why you want to do that, folks, is you want to deny these individuals who want to basically want to destroy this country. You want to deny them a seat at the table, but we also need this, folks. We need to make sure that we elect people to office that are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with the President of the United States. Now, I've got something for the people of New Jersey. New Jersey is known as a blue state, but it's a purple state. We have a lot of independents here. I'm making a commitment to you. I am doing everything in my power with the team that I have to make sure that by 2020, New Jersey is flipped to a red state. We can do it, folks. You know why we can do it? We're Americans. We are Americans. We live in New Jersey, and we're going to turn the state of New Jersey around. We're going to turn this country around. Why? Because we are Americans. We're resilient. We're strong. We're tough. The road gets tough. Well, you know what? That's okay. The road is always going to get tough. What's the Bible say? It rains on the just as well as the unjust. But it also gives us a guide. The Bible is a roadmap. It's a guide to getting to where we want to go. If we have faith in ourselves, we work hard, and we have faith in God Almighty. All right, folks, that was it, huh? I hope Periscope worked out pretty good. It looks like we got a good load of people on there. Facebook, man, that thing has been flying. And we'll be back next Monday night. Now, please, Steve at teamtrumpnj.us, you're going to get our Twitter account on there. You're going to get our YouTube channel on there, on that newsletter. You're going to get our Facebook information, our website. But more importantly, you're going to get so much encouragement, and your faith is going to grow so strong when you see what this president's doing to make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the President of the United States.